Hey Frag fam, what is going on? I hope you guys are all doing well today. Elliot here. Welcome back to the Fragrance Well. Today I want to do something I have never done before. And I mean in terms of making a video and what I just do with myself in terms of just kind of looking at what new fragrances has been released. Now you can go to a number of sources and see fragrances that are being basically announced. Not necessarily available yet, they've been announced. I use Parfumo for pretty much all of my database style stuff. You know, you also got Fragrantica. I know iFragrance is typically a good source to find out about new fragrances, but I usually just stay on Parfumo.com. They have a section called New and Notable, and they pretty much release a lot of announcements all the freaking time. Matter of fact, in this section, if you don't click on the official section, they don't even tell you every single fragrance. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at I believe it's 11. I'm going to look at 11 fragrances on this list of new and notable fragrances, and I'm just going to give my initial reactions based on what information is available. I think there are notes for all of these fragrances available, and I don't like to do this because sometimes it can formulate a picture in your head of what you think the fragrances smell like, and then you end up getting disappointed. I typically don't like to do that. I would just rather see what this fragrance smells like from Jump Street. I also don't want the notes influencing how I might describe the scent. I would rather just let my nose tell me what is happening. But just for the heck of having a little bit of fun, I'm going to do the exact opposite for this video. So that's pretty much the gist of it. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you do like this content, and please hit that bell icon, enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. And obviously, most of these fragrances, if not all of them, have not been released yet. So there's not going to be any links right now. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so the first fragrance we're going to look at is Sora Dora Lubu, maybe that's how you say it. It's got that little accent. I don't exactly know how that goes, and I'm not going to look it up right now. All right, so Sora Dora. Sora Dora is actually a really nice brand. I actually have smelled a number of their fragrances, but I don't own any at this time, but it is a solid brand. But this is one of their newer releases, so let's just kind of go through the notes. Perfumer, I actually don't know anything about that perfumer, but here we go. We got clove, gunpowder. What? Gunpowder. Okay, that's definitely a new one for me. We got Armenian paper. I guess Armenian paper has a particular smell. We got blood. Oh, all right. We're going all in with this one with the crazy stuff. We got iris. We got almond, amorous, black vanilla absolute, cashmere wood, gaiac wood, metallic notes, tolu balm, tonka bean absolute, and Virginia cedar. Well, obviously there's going to be some spiciness to this. There's definitely going to be some woodiness, I would imagine. There might be some kind of creamy or powderiness. I mean, the blood, I guess there's a lot of ways you can go with that. The paper thing, I don't know what that's really supposed to mean. I would assume the gunpowder means it's going to be a little bit smoky in some respects. And with clove, like a spice, clove and smoky notes can go hand in hand really, really well. This scent here might be very, very niche, as we like to call it. It might be a very interesting scent. I would love to get my nose on it. So I would hope that my local niche perfumery gets that one, and I can check that one out because that is some pretty wild notes. We're starting off with a bang. Let's move on to the next one. We got Xerjoff. This is Louis the 15th 722 Rosé. So I think this is a flanker to the Louis 15th fragrance that's out now, which was kind of a sparkly champagne spicy thing. I got a sample of it. I did wear it, but I don't remember all the features of it. But anyway, this one here, notes blackcurrant, pear, raspberry. So it's definitely fruity. Cedarwood, geranium, plum, rose, even more fruits. And amorous, musk, and vanilla. I mean, amorous must be in right now. You know, the only main amorous fragrance I know about is Amorous Homme from MFK, and that came out a while ago. And I've just clicked on two back-to-back releases, both featuring amorous. So amorous must be in right now. Kind of a balsamic woody note from my experience. You can clearly see this is going to be very, very fruity, and it's got all the popular ones: raspberry, pear, and plum. You know, I guess we're not quite moving on from that yet, but obviously there's going to be some rose to this. The rosé makes sense. I mean, I guess it could be a little watery, but it seems like it's going to be kind of fruity and rich, and maybe a little bit sweet. All right. Well, that's Louis the 15th 722 Rosé. Another one from Xerjoff. This one is a P13, or is it page 13? Is that how they say it? I actually don't know. I know P33, which I think is iris based. I really like that one. I just haven't really seen it for a price that I was crazy about. But this one's got a pretty interesting bottle, that's for sure. Notes: bergamot, Turkish rose, violet, clove, jasmine, orange blossom, tuberose, oak moss, Peru balsam, tobacco, and vanilla. Well, based off of this, you're definitely going to get some floral notes from it. A hint of spice, maybe. Tuberose is in there, tuberose and jasmine. Well, as long as those two things are not overbearing in the scent, I might be okay with it. I've grown to like tuberose over the last year, but I still don't prefer it to be the completely dominant thing to a point where it's like that's all you smell. Oak moss, pearl balsam, tobacco, vanilla. So obviously there's some earthiness to it. I think they're trying to present this as a floral unisex fragrance with those earthier notes, especially like the oak moss and tobacco, similar to what I got from the one from Cosmarati. I'm blanking on the name. I'm blanking on the name. It's the one that's in the white bottle. I talked about it a lot over the summer, but I have completely forgotten the name. Anyway, let's just move on. All right, so, okay, that's it from Serge off. These next few are from Low. I think that's how you say the name. They got 3 of them. First one, it seems like these are very specific. Roasted vanilla. By the way, I don't own any of these Low fragrances, but I've smelled quite a few of them. They're at my local Neiman Marcus. I think they are a part of Louis Vuitton, but they're like a offshoot brand, not their main stuff. But I wouldn't necessarily say they're better than or worse than. So this one's got cognac, oak, pink pepper, and vanilla. So roasted vanilla. Okay, so the oak part makes sense. The pink pepper, I guess, adds a little bit of spice, probably aids in the roasted vanilla thing you're getting from it. And then the cognac is probably there to kind of add a little bit of richness and sweetness. But you can almost kind of view this one based off just looking at the notes that this is kind of like a specific fragrance that's meant to kind of smell like one thing, basically what they're describing. So the other ones are probably the same. So this next one, also from Low, iris root. What do we got? Angelica seed, Nepalese, Sichuan pepper, and orris root. So in other words, more playing on the orris root. You know what? I don't know if I've necessarily had enough experience with orris root by itself to just know that that has a specific characteristic. So I might want to get my nose on this. Sichuan pepper, Nepalese Sichuan pepper. It's going to be peppery. That's kind of the biggest thing with that to me, but maybe slightly different from your average black pepper note. Angelica seed, I have no idea what that's supposed to be like. So this one, I guess, would also be interesting. Worth checking out. Next one from Low is going to be Bittersweet Oud. So it's got bitter orange, oud, and sandalwood. So it's woody with, I guess, a little bit of an orange characteristic. I like that bottle picture they have. Yeah, another one where it's like very, very specific. So that's probably why they released so many at once, or at least announced so many at once, because they're kind of playing into that whole thing where it's like you're basically getting exactly what we call the fragrance. You're not really anything else. And maybe these are meant to be blended. Next one from Guerlain. Anytime Guerlain drops something, I know a lot of people are interested in. This one's called Royal Extract 3. So I'm guessing there's maybe a Royal Extract 1 or 2. I know about Guerlain, but I don't know everything they have. They got a lot of fragrances. So this one, you got white peach, rose, patchouli, and vanilla. Well, that could either be very, very delicious or kind of meh. Because peach is something I know for me, it's either thumbs up or thumbs down. Rose, I mean, we don't know what the type of rose is. And obviously patchouli and vanilla, that's a very standard combination of stuff. I think the X factor for this is definitely going to be the white peach. But again, if there's a Royal Extract 1 and 2, I actually have no idea what those are. So I'm not that familiar with these bottles of Guerlain's. I've smelled like a handful of them. I actually don't own any of them, but I would certainly want to check that out. I can check them out. Problem is, the closest place I can go to check out the Guerlain line more extensively is either going to be Epcot here in town at Disney, which I got to pay for just to get in there. And also it would be all the way in Tampa, if I'm not mistaken, which I'm not always driving that far just to go smell some fragrances. Next one, L'Artisan Perfumer. I've smelled actually quite a few of these. I don't own any, but these fragrances are very, very vegetal in nature. They definitely play well into like the natural smell of the raw ingredients they're meant to portray, in my personal opinion. So with this one, Fleur de Lune, obviously you would expect some flowers just based on that name. You got Chinese magnolia, jasmine, sambac, leather, osmanthus, absolute, and saffron. Obviously, this is meant to play well into osmanthus. I don't really know the characteristics of osmanthus off the top of my head. I would have to read about it again. I've certainly smelled plenty of fragrances that have it, but I'm not that familiar with it on its own. But this house, again, produces really nice fragrances, and they do also have them at my local Neiman's, so I would expect I might get a chance to smell this one. But I would definitely expect some floral stuff with the leather and osmanthus, saffron. I don't know. I just have to get my nose on that one. I was going to say it might be similar to something, but I don't want to do that because you just don't know. All right, the next two, rather, are both from Bond number 9. I was actually told by the Bond number 9 representative at my local Bloomingdale's, who I know as well, that they were getting ready to drop some Bond number 9s. So I figure these are it. So they're both playing into Oud. So first one's going to be Oud Supreme. Now, if nothing else, I like that bottle. I like that green bottle for sure. We got black currant, pink pepper, Spanish lemon, carrot seed, East African frankincense resin, geranium, Turkish rose, Gurjan balsam, Indonesian patchouli, oud, and Sumatran benzoin. Wonder how exactly you say that. Well, I'll say this much. Based on this note breakdown, I would definitely be interested. But you know, with Bond number 9, it can be some hit or miss with them. I mean, I'm not a lover of the house, but you know, they definitely have some sprinkled in there. I don't mind. It's just a matter of, do you want to pay for it, even if it is discounted? So I have a kind of a rocky relationship with Bond number 9. They don't say what type of oud, unfortunately. So that would maybe paint a more clear picture. And, you know, of course, there's always the question of, is it an oud accord or actual oud? Either way, you know, that doesn't necessarily make it a better or worse fragrance, whichever one they use. But I do like this combination of notes. So I would be curious to check that one out. All right, the next one is called, my internet is trying to be slow. Don't do this to me. All right, here we go. Good Oud. So we got Oud Supreme and Good Oud. I like this bottle too. Like the darker with that classic gold Bond number 9 symbol. I like that. All right. For this one, we got Chinese Magnolia, Chinese Osmanthus, Cumin, Madagascan Cinnamon, Sumac, East African Myrtle, El Salvadorian Pearl Balsam, French Clary Sage, Pomegranate Seed, Wild Berries. I'm definitely going to have some fruity notes in this one. Bourbon Vanilla, Indonesian Patchouli, Oud, and Spanish Labdanum. Well, based off the last one, I would say this one's probably a little bit less floral. Overall, probably a lot more spicy and even kind of zingy. Sumac is like a spice that has the characteristics of lemon, but not necessarily the tartness. There's definitely going to be some fruits in this with the pomegranate seed and the wild berries. Yeah, again, we don't know what the oud is. Pretty standard base notes with the vanilla, patchouli, and the labdanum. So, you know, it might get some kind of smoky, ambery kind of thing going on. Might be kind of warm. Again, I'll check it out. I would be curious to see how they do with it. Also going to be curious to see how expensive it's going to be, which we know it's going to be pretty expensive. All right, guys, last one. We're going to go with one from Adamo. I know Adamo has gained a good amount of steam in the community overall. I actually don't own any of them. But ever since their kind of first 3, they've actually dropped quite a few. I want to check out some of those other ones. I did sample the first 3. I did like them. I just didn't really feel a need to buy them at the time. But this one's called Tawakkul? I have no idea how to say that. Tawakkul. I don't know what. Yeah, I guess maybe somebody knows better than me. But I've actually already looked at this one. I like the notes. Amaretto, which is almond liqueur, if I'm not mistaken. Cardamom, leather, oud, and tonka bean. Just the amaretto alone, if they do a good job with it, I think I would really like how this fragrance smells. I like the smell of amaretto. I used to drink it quite a bit back when I did and could drink more. And what I mean by that is I used to weigh a lot more than I do now. So I could handle a lot more liquor. But now, man, I gotta have like that much. And that's it. Otherwise, I'm toasted. Yeah, and the worst thing with me is I am very much aware when I'm drunk. I don't forget everything like most people. I just remember all of it. So I don't drink a lot because I know how crappy it feels once you start to come down from that intoxication. Yeah, not a fan. Anyway, I like this one. Seems very, very simple. I'm curious about it simply because of that amaretto note. Other than that, everything else is pretty typical. So that's pretty much 11 of the new releases. I'm gonna, if you didn't already see it, I put a page up of the new and notable as it stands right now. They're always updating this, But you can see there's a lot of fragrances on there that a lot of us have never heard of and probably can't even get our hands on because they may not even be marketed to us in the United States, which is cool about this website. You kind of know what else you're missing. There's already too many fragrance releases as it is, but you can see just how many more you're not able to get your nose on because they're not necessarily sold in the States. And this is a German website, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. I mean, this could be just something fun to do every now and then, but I really don't like looking at fragrances like this. But again, I'm just trying out something different because I think I have enough awareness to know that I have to go in with a blank slate in terms of when I smell a new fragrance. Don't get too married to what you see in the notes. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you all. Let me know down in the comments below if you are curious about some of these releases and you plan on checking them out. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you guys. Please remember to be well and smell well. And I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.